The Rough-Faced Girl, written by Rafe Martin and illustrated by David Shannon. Once upon a time, long ago, there was a village by the shores of Lake Ontario. In this village there were Native Americans who lived in wigwams. There was one special wigwam set apart from the others. This wigwam was the biggest, and painted on it were pictures of the sun, moon, stars, trees, and animals. Who lived in this wigwam, you may ask? Was supposedly a handsome, invisible being. The only problem was that no one could see him, except his sister. There were many women who wanted to marry the invisible being, but only the one who could see him could marry him. Also in this village lived a poor man who had 3 daughters. The 2 older daughters were cruel and hard-hearted. They had a younger sister who they made sit by the fire and feed the flames. Because she was so close to the fire, sparks would fly and land on her. Her hands, arms, and face became rough and scarred from the sparks. The 2 older sisters would constantly laugh and say,
"Ha ha, you are ugly, you rough-faced girl."
One day the 2 older sisters went to their father and asked for new necklaces, buckskin dresses, and moccasins. They dressed up in their new clothes and walked through the village saying,
"We are now the prettiest girls in the village. Surely one of us will marry the invisible being."
Once the sisters got to the tent of the invisible being, they first had to talk to his sister before entering. The sister asked why they have come. The sisters responded by saying,
"We want to marry the invisible being. That's why we are here."
If you want to marry my brother, you have to have seen him. Tell me, have you seen the invisible being?
Of course we have seen him. Can't you see how pretty we are? Can't you see the beautiful clothes we wear? Oh yes, anyone can tell that we have truly seen the invisible being.
So if you say you have seen him, then what is his bow made of?
His bow? His bow? We know. Let's say it is made from an oak tree. It is made from an oak tree.
No, you are not, and that is not even close.
The 2 sisters were wrong, and this continued for a while. The 2 sisters asked more questions like, what is the runner of a sled made of? And what does his face look like? The 2 sisters had no idea, and eventually walked away with embarrassment. The next day, the rough-faced girl went to her father and asked,
"Father, may I please have some beads? May I have a new buckskin dress and some pretty moccasins? I am going to marry the invisible being, for wherever I look, I see his face."
Unfortunately, her father was not able to give her the things that she wanted, because he had given everything he had to her older sisters. The rough-faced girl was not about to give up. She went and found dry reeds and broken shells and made them into a necklace. She stripped birch bark from a dead tree and made a cap, dress, and leggings. Then with a sharp piece of bone she carved in the bark pictures of the sun, moon, stars, trees, and animals. The rough-faced girl made her way to the invisible being's tent, and along the way she saw the great beauty of the earth and the sky spreading before her. She alone was the only one in the village who saw in these things the sweet and awesome face of the invisible being. Once at the tent, she, like her sisters, had to talk to the invisible being's sister. The invisible being's sister said,
"Tell me, have you seen the invisible being? Tell me, have you seen my brother, the invisible being?" "Yes, I have seen your brother." "What is his bow made of?" "I have seen his bow, and it is the great curve of a rainbow." "Aha, yes. Tell me if you have seen his bow. Then what is the runner of his sled made of?
The runner of a sled? Why, it is the Spirit Road, the Milky Way of the stars that spreads across the sky.
Aha! Yes, you have seen him. Come with me.
The sister took the rough-faced girl into the tent to see the invisible being. Even with the rough-faced girl being scarred, the invisible being saw the rough-faced girl and said,
At last, we have been found out, and you are the prettiest girl I have ever seen. I am so happy you see me as beautiful, even with all my scars. It does not matter what is on the outside, but what on the inside that counts, and you are gorgeous on the inside.
The invisible being asked his sister to take the rough-faced girl down to the lake. There she bathed in the water. While bathing in the water, all of her scars were washed away, and she was dressed in the finest buckskin robes and a necklace of perfect shells. At last, the rough-faced girl and the invisible being were married. They lived together in great gladness and were never parted. Just like the invisible being said, no matter what someone looks like on the outside, it is what on the inside that counts. We should never ever judge someone on their looks, but on their character.